My dear brothers and sisters across this great continent of ours, I come before you today not as a politician seeking favor, not as a leader demanding attention, but as a fellow African whose heart bleeds at what I have witnessed. I come to you as someone who understands the weight of silence, the cost of complicity, and the sacred duty we all share to speak truth in the face of injustice. There are moments in history when silence becomes betrayal. There are times when looking away becomes participation in the very evil we claim to oppose. My brothers and sisters, we are living in such a moment right now. What I am about to share with you is not just news from a neighboring country. It is not merely another political development that we can discuss and then forget. No. My brothers and sisters, what has happened in Uganda in these past hours is an assault on the very foundations of democracy across our entire continent. It is a warning sign that should make every African who believes in freedom and justice stand up and take notice. Bobi Wine has been arrested. But let me be very clear about something from the beginning. This was not an arrest. No. What happened to our brother Bobi Wine was an abduction. It was a kidnapping carried out by state forces under the cover of darkness, executed with military precision, and designed to send a message of fear to anyone who dares to challenge those who have held power for too long. When the news first reached me, I confess that I struggled to believe it. In this modern age, in the year 2026, how can we still be witnessing such blatant disregard for democratic principles? But then the evidence started flooding in. The videos, the testimonies, the statements from eyewitnesses. And with each piece of evidence, the terrible truth became undeniable. We are watching history repeat itself in the most painful and shameful way possible. This is why I must speak today. This is why I cannot remain silent. Because what happens in Uganda today could happen in any of our countries tomorrow. The erosion of democracy anywhere is a threat to democracy everywhere. The silencing of voices in one nation weakens the chorus of freedom across our entire continent. My brothers and sisters, let me take you through exactly what has transpired. Bobi Wine is not just any citizen. He is the opposition leader who has been fighting tirelessly for the rights of the Ugandan people. He is the voice of millions of young Ugandans who are demanding change. He is the man who has been standing up against oppression, speaking truth to power, and refusing to be intimidated despite countless threats and dangers. This is the man they came for in the dead of night. The information we have received comes directly from the National Unity Platform, Bobi Wine's own party. These are not rumors. These are facts confirmed by those who were there, who witnessed the machinery of state repression in action. According to the statement circulated widely on social media, the security operatives deployed at Bobi Wine's residence in Magere did something that should shock every person who believes in the rule of law. They cut off the electricity supply to his home. Think about that for a moment. Why would professional security forces need to plunge a residential area into darkness before making an arrest? The answer is clear. They wanted to operate in darkness because darkness hides their actions. They wanted to work under cover of night because they knew that what they were about to do could not withstand the scrutiny of daylight. They wanted to ensure that the eyes of the world would not see the violence they were about to unleash. After cutting the power, these security forces proceeded to destroy the electric fence that protected Bobi Wine's compound. They simply destroyed it, tearing down the barriers that stood between them and their target with brutal efficiency. And then came the violence. The private security guards who were stationed at the residence, men who had committed no crime, who were simply doing their jobs. These guards were violently assaulted. They were beaten. They were brutalized. Now, my brothers and sisters, there are videos circulating online. You will see footage showing a military helicopter hovering over the area. This helicopter, according to eyewitnesses, this is the aircraft that was used to carry Bobi Wine away from his home. An army helicopter, a military aircraft, landing in a civilian's compound in the middle of the night, forcibly removing a political opposition leader, taking him to an unknown destination. This is not the actions of a government confident in its democratic legitimacy. This is the behavior of a regime that fears its own people. But the story of that night did not begin in darkness. Even before the military forces moved in, Bobi Wine was already living under a state of siege. There was a drone, my brothers and sisters. A military drone that has been constantly hovering above Bobi Wine's residence ever since he returned from the campaign trail. Every single day, every single night. This unmanned aircraft has been flying over his home, watching his every movement, monitoring his activities, tracking who comes and goes, recording everything. This is psychological warfare. This is intimidation at its most sophisticated. This is the use of advanced military technology, not to protect citizens, but to terrorize a political opponent. And yet, despite all of this, Bobi Wine continued to speak out. He continued to demand transparency. He continued to tell the truth about what he believed was happening with the election results. And what is that truth? Bobi Wine has been speaking about the election results. He has been telling the people of Uganda that the results being announced by the electoral body are not legitimate. According to Bobi Wine and his party, the results have been doctored. They have been manipulated. They do not reflect the true will of the Ugandan people. Now, whether you agree with Bobi Wine's claims or not, that is not the point. The point is this. In a democracy, a political leader has the right to contest results. A candidate has the right to challenge the process through legal and peaceful means. This is not sedition. This is the very essence of democratic politics. But for speaking this truth, Bobi Wine has been silenced in the most brutal way possible. He has been disappeared by the state. And let me tell you what makes this even more alarming. The reports indicate that 10 people have died during this post-election period. 10 lives have been lost. 10 families are mourning. The Electoral Commission had announced that on the 17th of January 2026, they would unveil the president. But now with Bobi Wine in custody, with opposition voices being silenced, with military forces deployed across the country, what kind of announcement are we expecting? My brothers and sisters, when I look at what is happening in Uganda, I see a pattern we have witnessed too many times across our continent. Let me tell you something about President Museveni. He is a clever man. He is playing his cards very carefully. He is acting like everything is normal, like he is simply a candidate in an election. You cannot easily pin anything on him directly, because he understands how to maintain plausible deniability. But we must ask ourselves, who controls the military in Uganda? Who gives the orders to the armed forces? The Chief of Defense Forces, the person who commands the military, is President Museveni's own son. Yes, you heard me correctly. The son of the man who is technically a candidate in this election is the one commanding the armed forces. Do you see the problem here? Do you see the fundamental conflict of interest? There is absolutely no way that the CDF is going to allow Bobi Wine to win this election. Why? Because if Bobi Wine wins, it means that the carefully laid plans for succession are destroyed. President Museveni's son has been positioned at the top of the military hierarchy. But if Bobi Wine wins this election, if a genuine democratic transition takes place, then all of those plans collapse. This is why the military moved with such speed to arrest Bobi Wine. They could not wait. They had to act even before the final results were announced. Because they know that if Bobi Wine is free to speak, if he is free to mobilize his supporters, then maintaining their grip on power becomes much more difficult. Here is what concerns me the most. The information suggests that Bobi Wine will be kept in custody until the electoral chairman announces the winner. Think about this very carefully. If the military is taking Bobi Wine into custody before the results are announced, and if by some chance Bobi Wine wins this election, what is going to happen? Will they release him? Will they respect the will of the people and hand over power to him? Or is it not obvious that the military has taken Bobi Wine into custody, precisely because they already know that he will not be announced as the winner? They have already made sure of that through whatever means necessary. But what if Bobi Wine actually wins? What if the will of the Ugandan people is so clear, so strong, so undeniable, that he emerges as the victor? If Bobi Wine wins while he is still in military custody, then what we are witnessing is a military coup. Think about it carefully. The people vote for Bobi Wine. He wins the election. But the military refuses to release him. They refuse to allow him to take power. And then they install whoever they want as president. Is that not a coup? Is that not a military overthrow of the democratic will of the people? We must call things by their proper names. We must not be afraid to identify tyranny when we see it. This is why I, Ibrahim Traoré, I am speaking today. I am calling on President Museveni to release Bobi Wine immediately. Release him now. Release him without any preconditions. The people of Uganda have spoken. They have gone to the polls in their millions. You cannot arrest the leader that they have chosen, or may choose, and then claim that you are running a democratic process. Mr. President, I speak to you now not as an adversary, but as a fellow African leader who understands the burdens of leadership. You have been in power for many years. You have had your opportunity to shape Uganda. You have had decades to prove what kind of leader you are. The young people of Uganda are saying that it is time for a new generation to take over. They are saying that they want to determine their own future. Why are you afraid of that? Why do you need the military to hold on to power? If you truly believe that the people support you, if you genuinely think that you have won this election fairly, then you have nothing to fear from Bobi Wine. Release him. Let him go back to his home. Let him be with his family. Let him speak to his supporters. But you cannot keep him in detention. You cannot disappear him like he is a criminal, when he is simply a political opponent who dares to challenge you. The eyes of the world are watching Uganda right now. Mr. President, the eyes of Africa are watching. The eyes of history are watching. History will judge you based on what you do in these coming days. Will you be remembered as a leader who respected democracy? Or will you be remembered as someone who used military force to cling to power at any cost? I also want to speak directly to the military leadership in Uganda, especially to the Chief of Defense Forces. You are a soldier. You took an oath to protect the Constitution of Uganda. You took an oath to protect the people of Uganda. But what oath did you take to protect one family's grip on power? What oath did you take to use military assets to suppress political opposition? The military in any democracy should be neutral. When you send a helicopter to abduct an opposition leader, you are not serving Uganda. You are not serving the constitution you swore to protect. You are serving the interests of a few individuals who want to maintain power at any cost. Is this what you want your legacy to be? You still have time to make the right choice. You still have time to stand on the side of the constitution and the people. To the people of Uganda, my dear brothers and sisters, I know that what is happening now is deeply discouraging. When you see military helicopters abducting your leaders, when you see the democratic process being manipulated before your very eyes, it can make you want to give up. But I am here to tell you, do not lose hope. Do not give up. The very fact that they had to use such extreme measures against Bobi Wine is proof that they fear you. The world is watching what is happening in Uganda. Africa is watching. We see you. We hear you. We stand with you in your struggle for democracy and freedom. You are not alone in this fight. Continue to demand your rights, but do it peacefully. Continue to speak the truth, but do not let them provoke you into violence. The path to democracy is often long and difficult, but it is a path worth walking, and you will walk it, my brothers and sisters. My brothers and sisters across this great continent, this situation in Uganda should be a lesson to all of us. We must stand together against any form of dictatorship on our continent. When we see injustice happening in one country, we cannot just look away and say it is not our problem, because it is our problem. When democracy is under attack in Uganda, it is under attack everywhere in Africa. The Africa that we want to build, the Africa that our young people deserve, it is an Africa where democracy is respected. It is an Africa where leaders understand that power belongs to the people, not to individuals or families. It is an Africa where the military serves the constitution and the people, not politicians and their personal ambitions. This is the Africa we must build together. I am calling on the African Union. I am calling on regional bodies like ECOWAS and the East African Community. I am calling on the international community. Let us speak with one voice. Let us tell President Museveni that what is happening in Uganda is not acceptable. Let us demand the immediate and unconditional release of Bobi Wine. The time for silence is over. We need action. We need concrete steps. Let me speak plainly about what is at stake. This is not just about one election in one country. This is about the kind of Africa we are going to build for future generations. If we allow what is happening in Uganda to pass without strong resistance, we are setting a precedent. We are telling every aspiring dictator on our continent that they can use the military to suppress opposition without facing serious consequences. But if we stand together, if we speak out loudly and clearly, if we demand justice and accountability, then we send a different message. We tell leaders across Africa that the era of impunity is over. We tell them that the people will not tolerate the abuse of power. We tell them that history will remember and judge their actions. So I return to where I began. I call on President Museveni one final time. Release Bobi Wine immediately. Release him now. Release him without conditions. You have nothing to gain by keeping him in detention. You have everything to lose. Your legacy, your place in history, the respect of the international community, the future of Uganda itself. Do the right thing, Mr. President. Show the world that you respect democracy. Show the people of Uganda that you respect their will. Release Bobi Wine now, and let the democratic process take its course. And to Bobi Wine, wherever you are, whatever facility they are holding you in, I want you to know, you are not forgotten. You are not alone. Your voice has been silenced temporarily, but the truth you speak lives on in the hearts of the Ugandan people, and in the minds of all Africans who believe in freedom. Stay strong, brother. We are fighting for your release. We will not stop until you are free. My brothers and sisters, I thank you for listening to me today. The situation in Uganda requires all of us to pay attention. It requires all of us to speak up. It requires all of us to demand better for our African brothers and sisters. This is about defending democracy when it is under attack. This is about standing up for human rights when they are being violated. Let us continue to pray for Uganda. Let us continue to stand with the people of Uganda in their struggle for democracy. Let us continue to demand the immediate and unconditional release of Bobi Wine. Let us continue to insist that military forces should serve the people and the Constitution, not the personal ambitions of political leaders. And let us remember that the struggle for democracy is not a sprint, but a marathon. There will be setbacks. There will be moments of discouragement. But in the end, the will of the people cannot be suppressed forever. Truth cannot be buried indefinitely. Justice, though it may be delayed, will ultimately prevail. So we keep fighting. We keep speaking out. We keep demanding better. We keep believing in the Africa that is possible, the Africa that our children deserve, the Africa that we will build together through our collective struggle for democracy and freedom. May God bless the people of Uganda. May God bless Bobi Wine and bring him home safely to his family. May God bless all those who are fighting for democracy across our great continent. And may God bless Africa. Thank you, my brothers and sisters. The struggle continues, and we will not be silent.